September 13, 1943, 4:15 a.m. A stone farmhouse outside Altavilla, Italy. Private Charles E. Kelly crouches behind a stone wall, watching German soldiers emerge from the darkness. He counts them as they advance. 10, 20, 30, 40. They keep coming. He's alone. His entire company pulled back 3 hours ago. They told him to withdraw with them. He refused. Now he's the only thing between a German counterattack and the American positions half a mile behind him. One man. One Browning automatic rifle, 600 rounds of ammunition, and more Germans than he can count moving toward him through the pre-dawn darkness. The mathematics are brutal. Kelly has maybe 60 seconds before they're close enough to rush his position. Once they identify where he is, where the fire's coming from, they'll flank him, surround him, kill him. Standard infantry tactics. Overwhelming force against a single defender. Kelly pulls the bolt on his bar, checks the magazine. 20 rounds. He has 29 more magazines in the farmhouse behind him. If he can make every burst count, if he can keep moving, if he can convince the Germans there are more of them up here than just one crazy private from Pittsburgh, he might survive the next 10 minutes. What happens next will turn Charles Kelly into a legend. In the next 5 hours, he'll fire more than 500 rounds. He'll kill dozens of German soldiers. He'll hold off an entire German battalion, alone. And when it's over, when reinforcements finally arrive, they'll find him still firing, still fighting, surrounded by empty brass casings and dead Germans. All because he refused to leave when ordered. Charles Edward Kelly was born September 23, 1920, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Steel town, working-class neighborhood. His father was a mill worker. His mother took in laundry. The Depression hit Pittsburgh hard. The steel mills cut production. Men who'd worked the same job for 20 years got laid off and never found work again. Kelly watched his father struggle, watched the pride drain out of him year by year. By the time Charles graduated high school in 1938, he knew two things. College was impossible. The mills were dying. There had to be something else. December 1941, Pearl Harbor. The Japanese attack brings America into the war. Kelly's 21 years old. He doesn't wait for the draft. He walks into the recruitment office in downtown Pittsburgh and signs up. The Army takes one look at him. 5'8", 165 pounds. Nothing special, and stamps his papers. Infantry, basic training, Camp Walters, Texas. The standard nightmare. Running, climbing, shooting, crawling through mud while sergeants scream in your face. Kelly's not the fastest. He's not the strongest. But he doesn't quit. The drill sergeants notice. This kid has something. Stubbornness maybe. Or just pure Irish refusal to back down. They make him a barman. The Browning automatic rifle is the Army's squad-level machine. Gun, 19.5 pounds loaded. Fires, 30.06 rounds at 500 rounds per minute. Effective range, 600 yards. It's heavy. It kicks like a mule. The barrel overheats after sustained fire, but in the hands of someone who knows what they're doing, the bar can stop an infantry assault cold. Kelly trains with the weapon until it becomes an extension of his body. He learns to fire in short bursts to conserve ammunition and prevent overheating. He learns to change magazines in 3 seconds. He learns to shoot from the hip while moving, from the shoulder while stationary, from behind cover, from prone positions. By the time his training ends, he can field strip a bar blindfolded and put it back together in 45 seconds. July 1943. The 36th Infantry Division ships to North Africa, then Sicily, then mainland Italy. The Italian campaign is brutal, not the dramatic sweep across France that will come later. Not the island hopping in the Pacific, just grinding, bloody, hill-by-hill fighting against German forces that refuse to retreat. The Germans hold the high ground. They've fortified every ridge, every mountain pass, every stone village. American soldiers attack uphill through minefields and machine gun fire. The casualty rates are horrific. Kelly's unit, Company L, 143rd Infantry Regiment, lands at Salerno on September 9, 1943. The invasion is a nightmare from the first hour. German forces are waiting. They've anticipated the landing. Artillery shells rain down on the beaches. Men die before they get off the landing craft. The ones who make it to shore run straight into prepared defensive positions. Kelly's baptism by fire. He'd trained for this. He'd imagined what combat would be like. Nothing prepared him for the reality. The noise, the confusion, men screaming, orders shouted and misunderstood, the smell of cordite and blood and burning equipment. He keeps moving because stopping means dying. He fires his bar at German positions he can barely see through the smoke. He doesn't know if he hits anything. He just keeps shooting. Company L pushes inland. The objective is Altavilla, a small village in the hills above Salerno. If the Germans hold Altavilla, they can bring artillery fire down on the entire beachhead. If the Americans take it, they can break out of the landing zone and push toward Naples. Everything depends on taking that village. September 12th. Company L assaults Altavilla, house-to-house fighting. Germans in every building. Kelly's squad clears a farmhouse. 3 Germans inside. Kelly kicks the door, sees movement, fires. The bar tears through the room. When the smoke clears, 2 Germans are dead. The 3rd is wounded, hands up, surrendering. Kelly takes him prisoner, hands him off to the rear, moves to the next building. By nightfall, Altavilla is in American hands, but barely. Company L has taken heavy casualties. They're down to half strength. The Germans have pulled back, but everyone knows they'll counterattack. They always counterattack. The question is when. September 13th, 1 a.m. German artillery opens up. The barrage lasts 45 minutes. Shells slam into Altavilla. Stone buildings collapse. American soldiers huddle in basements and cellars, waiting it out. When the artillery stops, the silence is worse than the noise, because now comes the infantry. German forces mass in the darkness below the village. A full battalion, maybe 600 men. They're coming to retake Altavilla. Company L is ordered to withdraw. The position is indefensible. The company commander makes the call. Pull back to the secondary defensive line. Preserve the unit. Live to fight another day. Kelly's squad receives the order. Fall back. Move out. Everyone starts pulling back except Kelly. He's positioned in a stone farmhouse on the northern edge of the village. From his window, he can see the entire approach. If the Germans take this farmhouse, they'll have a clear path into the American rear. He makes a decision. He's staying. His squad leader yells at him, "Kelly, let's go." That's an order. Kelly shakes his head. Somebody's got to slow them down. Give the company time to set up defensive positions. I'll catch up. The squad leader argues for maybe 10 seconds. Then the Germans start moving. He grabs the rest of the squad and runs. Kelly watches them disappear into the darkness. Now he's alone. 4:15 a.m. Kelly counts 40 German soldiers advancing toward his position. They're moving carefully. Combat veterans. They've done this before. They're checking every angle, covering each other. Professional. They haven't spotted Kelly yet. The farmhouse looks abandoned. Just another pile of stone in a village full of ruins. Kelly lets them get close. 200 yards, 150 yards, 100 yards. He can see their faces now in the pre-dawn light. Young men, scared men, soldiers like him. He pushes that thought away. If he doesn't kill them, they'll kill Americans. They'll break through the lines. They'll massacre the withdraw company before they can dig in. 75 yards. Kelly opens fire. The bar roars. 20 rounds in 4 seconds. Tracers arc across the darkness. Germans scream. Men fall. The rest hit the ground, scrambling for cover. Kelly's already moving. He grabs his weapon and runs to a different window. The Germans will zero in on his muzzle flash. If he stays in one spot, they'll concentrate fire and kill him. He has to keep moving. Keep them guessing. Make them think there are multiple defenders. He fires from the new position. Another burst. More Germans fall. He's back to the first window before they can react. Fires again. The Germans are confused. They're taking fire from multiple locations. How many Americans are in that farmhouse? They don't know. They can't know, because Kelly is everywhere. Window to window, room to room. Firing, moving, reloading. Firing again. The German commander makes a decision. Suppress that position. Machine gun team set up. MG-42s. The German machine gun that fires so fast it sounds like a chainsaw. 200 rounds per minute. The fastest machine gun in the world. They open fire on the farmhouse. Bullets punch through the stone walls. Windows explode. Dust and debris fill the air. Kelly drops flat. Rounds crack overhead. He can hear the 42s. Distinctive sound. Once you've heard it, you never forget it. The machine gun fire stops. The Germans are advancing. Standard tactics. Suppress the position, then rush it while the defenders pin down. Kelly rolls to a new window. They're 50 yards out, running toward the farmhouse in a disciplined assault line. He opens fire. The bar cuts through them. The front rank goes down. The second rank stumbles over the bodies. Kelly keeps firing, empties the magazine, slams in a fresh one, fires again. The German assault breaks. The survivors retreat back to cover. 5 a.m. Kelly's been fighting for 45 minutes. He's fired 200 rounds. His shoulder aches from the bar's recoil. His ears are ringing. The farmhouse is a wreck. Walls pocked with bullet holes. Most of the windows are gone. Spent brass casings cover the floor ankle deep. Outside, German bodies lie where they fell. Kelly counts 12, maybe more. Hard to see in the darkness. The Germans try again. Different approach this time. They split into two groups. One group provides covering fire, while the other advances. Proper fire and maneuver. Kelly can't shoot at both groups simultaneously. When he fires at the advancing group, the covering group shoots at him. When he shoots at the covering group, the advancing group gets closer. They're boxing him in. Kelly adapts. He fires one burst at the advancing group, drops 2 soldiers, immediately shifts to the covering group, fires another burst, shifts back to the advancing group. He's trading shots with both teams simultaneously. It's insane. It shouldn't work, but the Germans aren't expecting it. They're expecting him to focus on one threat or the other, not both. The assault stalls. The Germans pull back again. 6 a.m. Sun's coming up. Kelly can see everything now. The hillside below the farmhouse is littered with German casualties, dead and wounded, men crawling back to their lines. The Germans have pulled back 300 yards. They're regrouping, bringing up reinforcements. Kelly can see their officers pointing at the farmhouse, issuing orders, planning the next assault. He inventories his ammunition. 15 magazines left, 300 rounds. He's fired more than half his ammo. If the Germans keep coming, he'll run out before they do. He needs to make every shot count. No more long bursts. Controlled fire. Aim. Shoot. Kill. Move. 6:30 a.m. The Germans come again. More of them this time. Kelly estimates 60 men in the assault wave. They're trying to overwhelm him with numbers. Rush the farmhouse from multiple directions. Can't defend everywhere at once. Kelly realizes he's about to die. The math doesn't work anymore. One man can only cover so many angles. Once they get inside the farmhouse, it's over. Close quarters. Hand to hand. He's dead. But he doesn't run. Doesn't retreat, doesn't even consider it. He just keeps fighting, fires at the Germans coming from the north, shifts to the Germans coming from the east, back to the north. His bar is overheating, the barrel glowing red, can smell the metal. If he keeps firing, the weapon will jam or the barrel will warp. He has to let it cool. But if he stops shooting, the Germans will overwhelm his position in seconds. Kelly makes a choice. He fires the bar until the magazine's empty. Then he drops it. Grabs his rifle, M1 Garand, 8-round clip. He fires at the closest Germans. The Garand pings as the empty clip ejects. He slams in another, fires again. The Germans are 20 yards away now, close enough to throw. Grenades! Kelly sees one pull the pin. He shoots the German in the chest. The grenade falls at the man's feet, explodes, takes out 2 more Germans beside him. The assault breaks. Again. The Germans can't believe it. 1 man, 1 American, holding off an entire battalion. They've lost dozens of men trying to take this farmhouse. How is he still alive? Why hasn't he run out of ammunition? What kind of soldier is this? 8 a.m. Kelly's been fighting for nearly 4 hours. He's down to 6 magazines, 120 rounds. His hands are shaking from adrenaline and exhaustion. His right shoulder is one massive bruise from the bar's recoil. He's thirsty. Can't remember the last time he drank water. There's a canteen in his pack, but he doesn't have time to drink. The Germans keep coming. They try a new tactic. Mortar fire. 81mm mortars. The shells arc high and drop nearly vertical, perfect for hitting targets behind cover. The first round hits 30 yards from the farmhouse. Kelly ducks. The second round hits closer, 20 yards. They're walking the mortars toward his position, adjusting fire. When they get the range, they'll drop rounds directly on the farmhouse. Stone walls won't save him. A direct hit will kill him. Kelly abandons the farmhouse, grabs his bar and remaining ammunition, runs to a stone wall 50 yards away. Better cover. Lower profile, harder for the mortars to hit. He sets up behind the wall just as the German infantry advances again. They think the mortar fire drove him out. They think he's running. They're wrong. Kelly opens fire from his new position. The Germans never expected it. They thought they had him pinned. Now he's shooting at them from a completely different location. They scatter, take casualties, retreat again. Kelly laughs, actually laughs. The absurdity of it. 1 guy, 1 bar, holding off hundreds. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't be possible, but here he is, still alive, still fighting. 9 a.m., 5 hours. Kelly's been in continuous combat for 5 hours. He's fired more than 500 rounds, killed at least 40 German soldiers, wounded dozens more. The German battalion has stopped advancing. They've pulled back to their original positions. They're not retreating, just regrouping, waiting. They know what Kelly doesn't. He has to run out of ammunition eventually. Then he's dead. Kelly checks his ammo. 3 magazines left. 60 rounds. That's it. Once he fires those, He's got his pistol, .45 Colt, M1911, 7 rounds in the magazine, 1 in the chamber. After that, he's got a knife. After that, nothing. He looks down the hill at the German positions, estimates 200 soldiers still combat effective. Even if every one of his remaining rounds kills a German, which they won't, the math is impossible. 9:30 a.m. Kelly hears something behind him. Footsteps. Multiple men. Moving fast. He spins around, bar raised. American voices. Don't shoot, Kelly. It's us. Company L has counterattacked. The withdrawal was strategic. They fell back, reorganized, brought up reinforcements, and now they're retaking Altavilla. Kelly's sergeant runs up to his position, looks at the scene. Dead Germans everywhere. Empty brass casings piled around Kelly's position. The private still behind the wall, still firing, still alive. Jesus Christ, Kelly, we thought you were dead. Kelly shrugs. Sorry, Sarge. Forgot to die. The sergeant stares at him. 5 hours. You held them off for 5 hours? Kelly ejects his magazine, counts the rounds. 14 left, plus the 60 in his remaining mags. I was gonna give it 10 more minutes, then I was out. Company L sweeps through Altavilla. The Germans retreat. The American line is secure. The breakthrough attempt has failed. Later, when they count the German casualties in front of Kelly's position, the official number is 43 killed in action, dozens more wounded, all attributable to one private with a bar. Kelly's company commander submits the Medal of Honor recommendation immediately. The citation reads, "For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life, Private Kelly fought off a German attack virtually single-handedly. Alone and cut off from his company, he repelled the enemy assault by holding his position for 5 hours while completely surrounded. The valor displayed by Private Kelly prevented the enemy from breaking through the American lines." December 17, 1943. Somewhere in Italy, Lieutenant General Mark Clark, commanding officer of the 5th Army, presents Private Charles Kelly with the Distinguished Service Cross, the second highest decoration for valor. Kelly's company forms up for the ceremony. Clark pins the medal on Kelly's chest, makes a speech about courage and sacrifice. Kelly stands at attention, doesn't say a word. Later, someone asks him how it feels to be a hero. Kelly says, "I was just doing my job." The DSC is later upgraded to the Medal of Honor. August 23, 1944, Rome, Italy. Major General Willis Krittenberger presents the Medal of Honor to now Corporal Charles E. Kelly. The citation describes his actions at Altavilla, the 5-hour stand, the 43 Germans killed, the unwavering courage. Kelly accepts the medal, salutes, returns to his unit. The press loves the story. Soldier holds off entire German battalion. Kelly gets nicknamed Commando Kelly. A comic book is made about him. Captain America-style propaganda. Kelly hates it. He's not a comic book hero. He's a soldier who did what needed to be done. October 1944. Kelly is shipped back to the United States. War bond tour. The Army parades him around the country. Speeches, rallies, handshakes, buy bonds, support the troops, win the war. Kelly goes through the motions. He'd rather be with his unit. But the Army needs heroes, needs faces to put on posters. Medal of Honor recipients don't get a choice. May 1945. Germany surrenders. 3 months later, Japan surrenders. War's over. Kelly's 24 years old. He's killed more men than he can count. He's been shot at, mortared, nearly blown up a dozen times. He's been in combat for 2 years. Now what? Kelly goes home to Pittsburgh. The steel mills are hiring again. War production kept them alive. Now they're retooling for peacetime. Kelly gets a job, same mill his father worked. Different department, same work, same neighborhood, same life. Except he's got a Medal of Honor in a case somewhere. Doesn't talk about it. Doesn't wear the ribbon unless he has to. When people ask about the war, he says, "It's over. Let's talk about something else." Kelly marries Elena Favia in 1946. They have a daughter. Move to a small house in Homestead, Pennsylvania. Working class neighborhood. Kelly works the mill for 35 years. Clock in, clock out. Paycheck every 2 weeks. Pension at the end. It's not exciting. It's not glamorous. But it's steady. It's honest. It's enough. He attends veteran events when invited. Memorial Day ceremonies, Veterans Day parades, stands with other Medal of Honor recipients. Old men now, gray hair, bad knees, remembering friends who didn't come home. Kelly never gives speeches, never seeks attention, just shows up, stands, salutes, goes home. January 11th, 1985, Homestead, Pennsylvania. Charles Edward Kelly dies of heart failure. He's 64 years old. They bury him at Allegheny County Memorial Park. Not Arlington. Kelly never wanted Arlington. Wanted to be buried near home, near family, near the life he built after the war. His Medal of Honor is donated to the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Hall in Pittsburgh. His name is engraved on plaques and memorials. A VFW post in Pennsylvania is named after him. But most people have never heard of Charles Kelly. They know Audie Murphy. They know Alvin York. They don't know the private from Pittsburgh who held off a German battalion for 5 hours, alone. Here's what the Charles Kelly story is really about. It's not about the 5 hours at Altavilla. It's not about the 43 Germans killed. It's not even about the Medal of Honor. It's about the moment Kelly made the choice. When his squad pulled back, when his sergeant ordered him to withdraw, when every rational thought said run, save yourself. You can't hold off a battalion alone. Kelly looked at that farmhouse, looked at the Germans advancing, looked at the American lines behind him, and said, no, somebody has to slow them down. He didn't think he'd survive, didn't think he could win, just thought he could buy time. Give his company 10 minutes, 20 minutes, however long it took before the Germans overwhelmed him. If he could hold them for even a few minutes, it might make the difference. Might give Company L time to set up proper defensive positions, might save American lives. So he stayed, alone, knowing he was probably going to die. And then he didn't die. He fired and moved and reloaded and kept fighting for 5 hours. Because once you make the decision to stand, you can't unmake it. You can only fight. The Medal of Honor citation says he displayed conspicuous gallantry. That's the official language. The sanitized version. The real version is this. Charles Kelly stood in a farmhouse and refused to run while an entire German battalion tried to kill him. And when it was over, when reinforcements finally arrived, he had 14 rounds left and was preparing to use them. President Truman once said about the Medal of Honor recipients, these men did not think they were heroes. They thought they were soldiers doing their jobs. Charles Kelly proved it. He went back to Pittsburgh, went back to the mill, spent 35 years working the same job his father worked. Never wrote a book, never gave interviews, never tried to cash in on being a hero, just lived his life, raised his daughter, paid his mortgage, went to work every day. The Medal of Honor sat in a drawer, somewhere. A piece of metal for a day's work. That's how Kelly saw it. A day's work. 5 hours that happened to change the course of a battle and save dozens of American lives. But just work. Nothing special. Nothing worth talking about. The Germans who survived Altavilla must have told stories about the American in the farmhouse. The soldier who wouldn't die, who kept fighting no matter what they threw at him, who held his position against impossible odds. They probably thought there were dozens of Americans in that farmhouse, a full platoon at least. They couldn't believe it was one man, one private with a bar and a stubborn refusal to quit. That's the real lesson of Charles Kelly. Courage isn't about size or strength or training. It's not about being fearless. Kelly was terrified. He knew the mathematics, 1 against hundreds. But courage is what you do when you're terrified, when every instinct screams to run, when survival means retreat, and you stay anyway, because someone has to. Because if you don't, people will die. So you load your weapon, find cover, and start shooting. Charles Kelly died in 1985, buried in a cemetery in Pennsylvania, among the neighbors and friends and family who knew him not as Commando Kelly or Medal of Honor recipient, just Chuck, the guy who worked at the mill, who mowed his lawn on Saturdays, who watched his daughter grow up, who lived a quiet, ordinary life after doing something extraordinary. His grave marker lists his name, his dates, his rank. It doesn't mention Altavilla, doesn't mention the 5 hours, doesn't need to. The people who needed to know knew. The men of Company L who counterattacked and found Kelly still fighting. They knew. They told their children and grandchildren about the private who refused to retreat, who held the line alone, who made it possible for them to live. That's the only audience that mattered to Charles Kelly. His brothers, the men who fought beside him, the ones who made it home because he stayed when everyone else ran. That was enough.